Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, our esteemed participants around the world. On behalf of the International Accreditation Forum and the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, we welcome you and welcome you, myself and Veronica, to this online live celebration of the World Accreditation Day 2023.
Hello, everyone. I'm Veronica from the Marketing and Communication Committee Chair.
And I'm Ibrahim, the Communication Marketing Committee Chair from IF. I would like first to inform you that we have interpretation today to Spanish. Thank you very much for IAAC and for our friend Victor to be our interpreter today to Spanish. So if you speak Spanish and you want to listen to this live webinar in Spanish, just go to the globe. You have an icon that is a form of a globe. You click on it and you'll find the two versions. You have the language in English and language in Spanish. If you want to listen to us in English, just keep it as it is or choose English. If you want to listen in Spanish, you just choose Spanish. So I'll just give you a few seconds to shift the language if you wish to do so. Okay, perfect. We are honored today to be your hosts, myself and Veronica, for this special event, and we come together to celebrate today the vital role of accreditation in supporting the future of global trade.
Yes, Brahim. Hello, everybody. As you know, accreditation plays a fundamental role in ensuring confidence and trust in products and services and systems that drive international trade. Today, we gather virtually to highlight the significance of accreditation and its impact on global trade. Welcome, everybody.
Exactly, Veronica. So this year's theme, the 2023 World Accreditation theme, is accreditation supporting the future of global trade. And this reflects an essential role that accreditation plays in facilitating international commerce and also promoting economic growth. As we all know that accreditation provides a robust framework to assess the competence and partiality, consistent operation of conformity assessment bodies, and thereby instilling a confidence in their results, Veronica.
Yes, that's right, Brahim. Through this event, we have the privilege of listening to inspiring speeches from key figures in the accreditation community and trade policy domain. This speech shed light on various aspects of accreditation and its contribution of the future of global trade.
Exactly. So we can see here, this is the agenda for today. We will try to have less than an hour, maybe 50 minutes event today, where we're going to have 4 speeches from Eti Feller, Emmanuel River, Reinaldo Figueiredo, and Heidi Lund. And let's introduce, Veronica, to our members what are these speeches are going to be and who's going to give us these speeches, what are their positions.
Yes, perfect. First, we will hear from Eti Feller, the chair of the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, ILAC. Her speech will emphasize the crucial role of testing, calibration, inspection, proficiency testing, producing reference materials, and other conformity assessment activities in supporting the global trade and ensuring the safety and quality of products. So we will have a very good speech from Etty.
And next, we will also have a speech from IF chair. So Emmanuel Riva, the IF International Accreditation Forum chair. So his speech will explore the importance of the adaptation of accreditation practices to cope with the future trends in consumer and regulatory requirements, what's happening with digitalization, AI, and data safety, and also the role of accreditation in enhancing confidence and conformity assessment outcomes across a wide range of sectors.
Yes, and our third speaker will be Reinaldo Figueredo, the chair of ISO Casco. His speech will provide valuable insights into the development of standards and guidance in support of accreditation and conformity assessment activities.
And last but not least, we will have the fourth speech from Mrs. Heidi Lund. She's from the trade policy. She's a trade policy advisor from the National Board of Trade of Sweden. A very interesting report and very interesting insight, and also some cautions to take into consideration in the future from the study. So Mrs. Heidi will share her perspective and the National Board of Trade of Sweden's perspective on the interplay between digitalization, AI, technical regulations, and trade policies, and also their effect on the future of global trade, with a number of recommendations that we really encourage you to listen to the recommendation of this report.
That's right, Brahim. We are confident that these speeches will broaden our understanding of the critical role accreditation plays in supporting the future of global trade. So we are very happy to be here, and we are very happy to having you in this international event.
And after that, we will surely present to you our World Accreditation Day official video. So it's available now on the channel, the YouTube channel of IF and ILAC. And we'll play that video for you, and you will see that this video will have very good information in it.
Yes, I'm very happy because a lot of different representatives are connecting now. So once again, we extend our warmest welcome to all the participants. We hope that today's event will inspire and empower you to contribute to the advancement of accreditation and its role in shaping the future of the global trade.
So without making our members wait more, so we're going to start with the first video.
Yes, we are going to present Etty Feller, the ILAC chair. Go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy to talk with you again. My name is Etty Feller, and I am the ILAC chair. Today, we are celebrating the World Accreditation Day. The 2023 terms is accreditation supporting the future of global trade, which each and every one of us are using on our daily life. The aim draw the attention of accreditation and conformity assessment supporting the global trade. We as the accreditation community have to be aware and to lead, to learn the needs of our regulator, stakeholder, and conformity assessment body, to educate our assessors as well as the CABs about new techniques and new demands of the market, to have the agility to adopt new ways of assessment and to dare to do changes, because we have to support our entire community around the world. The accreditation community is part of global organizations that work together via different consortium in order to support all the needs and the trends of the accreditation in the world, the accreditation that support our regulators on the national, regional, and global needs. Also, we have to make sure that the stakeholders support the changes that we are introducing in the system. One of the primary accreditation ways supporting the global trade is to understand that each and every goods that is part of the global trade will have the support of inspection or lab testing that will be accompanied by test results this good. Supply chains are becoming complex. Different arenas, different areas, and also different areas of supply chains are more advanced and introduce new techniques of the supply chain documents. The use of digitalization, the use of AI is really at the beginning. But we as an accreditation community have to pay attention to the needs, to the new ways of introducing information, and to make sure that we have all the needs for our assessor and our system to assess these new ways of information. Accreditation aid the trend by supporting, again, regulators, stakeholders, our CARES, and to make sure that business benefit from accreditation. Happy World Accreditation Day.
Thanks to Etty Feller, she reminds us of the significance of accreditation in supporting the future of global trade. It is crucial for us as an accreditation community to understand the needs of regulation or regulators, stakeholders, and conformity assessment bodies. By embracing the new techniques and market demands, we can effectively support our worldwide community. The complexities of supply chains and the rise of digitalizations and artificial intelligence require us to adapt and provide assessors with the necessary tools and information. So Rahim remembers us that, and we are very happy to having her here to talk about accreditation and the importance of global trade.
Exactly. I think ILAC also is doing great work in discussing with different stakeholders and working together to see the future. We don't know what the future is bringing to us, but it's very important that we have to work together to make this, to make its others ready and to have relevant activities be given to members. We can go now to the second speech. Our second speech is from Mr. Emanuele Riva. Emanuele is the IAF Chair, International Accreditation Forum, and he will give us a speech where he will talk about the future of trade, how accreditation is adapting, and also how conformity assessment activities should adapt in the future. So let's listen to Emanuele.
The theme of the World Accreditation Day this year is the future of the global trade. We have detected a recent research at OECD that demonstrates that 80% of the impact in the global trade is caused by the conformity assessment. This data is relevant, and it's important also to take consideration that there are new needs in the consumers, new needs that are related to the, for example, sustainability, the green, the provenance, the health, the ethics, but also the other aspect related to the security, the cybersecurity, artificial intelligence that in these days is creating a lot of debates, the data protection, frauds, product authenticity. So there are really new needs that the consumer are looking at, not just only the cost, but also other things, the intangibles. So here we can have an helps from the standard, methodology, and accreditation, and the conformity assessment in general, that can help the trust in these intangible things. So this will reduce the cost, will facilitate the trade, will provide common reference points. This is what we need, common reference points. So the increase of also the technology is helping a lot. We have seen from the COVID that we have been able to evolve, to simplify our process, to reduce also the time that we are providing the services. This is a huge benefit that we will take in consideration also from the future years. So accreditation is supporting innovation, ensuring also the use, as I said, of new technology, and taking care to the new needs of the market that are security, sustainability, and so on. So the market is changing, also accreditation is changing with this. So happy World Accreditation Day in this, in looking at with these new goals.
Thank you very much, Emanuele. I think this is a very inspiring speech. Market is changing, so accreditation is changing. And this is very important because we need to stay relevant. We need to see how the market is changing, how the consumer needs are changing, and their expectations, also the requirements for sustainability and for environmental protection requirements that relate now to the choice of the consumer of the products. So the speech from Emanuele was very clear, especially that he mentioned that 80% of the global trade is impacted somehow by conformity assessment. So which means that we must adapt to evolving needs of consumers, including sustainability, ethical production, governance, environmental impact, safety and security of data, etc. So accreditation continues to provide trust and common reference points, and that's the most important thing. Emanuele said we need our reference points so that we can progress in the future, and we can have services and products that can deliver reducing of cost, facilitating of trade, and also protection of environment. The advancements in technology bring an additional challenge to that. So as we have witnessed during the pandemic, but also after the new evolutions in artificial intelligence that we have seen lately, and all the discussion about that, we have to show how accreditation and conformity assessment are adapting, and also he streamlined that processes and services need to be more accurate and better delivery in the future. Accreditation supports innovation and embraces new technologies while addressing market changes is our goal, and this is how the strategy is being put in place both by ILAC and AF, by the different discussions, the working groups on sustainability, and also all the work being put in place. I think this is, Veronica, something very important, and especially that we are still continuing to work with ISO Casco for this field, and Rinaldo maybe can give us more information on that.
Yes, Brahim, indeed, this is very important to us to know about that. And now it's time to give the floor to Reinaldo Figueiredo, ISO Casco Chair. We are ready to hear his speech.
I am Reinaldo Balbino Figueiredo. I work for ANSI National Accreditation Board, ANAB, US-based accreditation body. I have the position of Vice President of Conformity Assessment Strategy. I have also been chair of ISO Policy Committee on Conformity Assessment since 2020. I would like to congratulate IAF, the International Accreditation Forum, for its 30-year anniversary. I clearly remember when I participated for the first time in the third IF meeting in Geneva, Switzerland in 1994. At that time, we were not more than 10 accreditation bodies and 15 people discussing the first stages of the IAF with the leadership of Mr. Ruben Altry with American National Standards Institute, ANSI. On this accreditation day, I'd like to congratulate ILAC, IAF, all the regional accreditation corporations and the accreditation bodies, as well as stakeholders as users or participants of accreditation service that provides confidence and trust in conformity assessment activities that underpinning and support international trade, protect consumers and the environment. ISO Casco Toolbox as international standards has many benefits being international. First is a dual logo, ISO and IEC, and the Casco Toolbox, which represents globally agreed best practice. They are developed by a diverse range of specialists from all over the world, input and expertise from all areas where standards have an impact, such as industry, government, academia, accreditation bodies, conformity assessment bodies, and standardization bodies. The principles of consensus, openness, transparency, and neutrality are embedded in the process that these standards are developed in support of international trade. ISO-CASCO Middle Committee members are the cornerstone during the process of development of CASCO standards and in the definition of our priorities. The CASCO toolbox consists of 37 standards and guides covering principles and common elements of conformity assessment, code of good practice, supplier's declaration of conformity, accreditation, peer assessment, mutual recognition arrangements, among others. All these standards supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The existing infrastructure that we have for the development of international and national standards worldwide, that is led by ISO and IEC in more than 165 countries, has standards that cover sustainability, ESG, and climate change. These organizations are developing new standards in these areas. The conformity assessment and accreditation infrastructure that implements ISO-CASCO toolbox of standards is ready to provide service related to conformity assessment and accreditation that covers ESG and sustainability reporting, and also supports government agencies in their mandate on climate change. How will these standards be used as tools in the continued evolution of conformity assessment and accreditation needed in the new wave related to international trade and technology? We are all at the beginning of a new wave related to international trade. New technologies are continually facilitating international trade. The new technologies of today are not new events, but rather the latest events in a steady progression of technology that are facilitating international trade. And standards, conformity assessment, accreditation will certainly be applied to this new technology, just as it has been done for many decades. The wide implementation of ISO-CASCO standards by private sector and government agencies worldwide is a clear indicator of where the new wave is headed. ISO-CASCO is ready to support the change coming in this new wave of international trade and technology. As a CASCO chair, it's my pleasure to deliver this message in commemoration of the International Accreditation Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Reinaldo for his speech. As you know, this is the 16th year that we celebrate our World Accreditation Day. So he congratulates IAF, ILAC, and all the accreditation bodies and stakeholders for their role in providing confidence and trust in conformity assessment. He highlights the importance of ISO-CASCO standards, which are developed through global consensus, openness, transparency, and neutrality. These standards support international trade and cover various areas such as certification, testing, inspection, and accreditation. As we enter a new wave of international trade driven by new technologies, ISO-CASCO is ready to support the change ahead. So, Rahim, I want to say again, thank you to Reinaldo. Please, your message can help us to know about different things of standards, and also thanks to congratulate ISO. Thanks to ISO to congratulate IAF and ILAC in this important day.
Exactly. I think Rinaldo's support was very important. I think during his chairmanship, we've seen very good progress in Casco
Yes.
work. And we see now new standards coming on from that really coping with the new trends of technology and new ways of performing auditing, performing conformity assessment. We see now there's the a new standard coming, 17012 being established, and other also tools in the toolbox, the Casco toolbox, that will be very useful for our community and of accreditation and conformity assessment. Before going to our last speech from Mrs. Heidi Lund, I would like to launch a poll to know who's with us today. So please take a few minutes to respond to our poll. We would like to know which stakeholder group you represent. We are always interested in ILAC and AF to work with our stakeholders. And in this poll, we ask you to identify yourself. Are you an accreditation body? Are you a conformity assessment body? Are you a user of conformity assessment services? You have multiple choice. You can be both of those. You can be a regulator, a government, a scheme owner, or standardization bodies, or other. If you're not one of those, you can be independent expert or consultants. So I can see that the race is very strong now. I know that you don't see the results, but I can give you an information that accreditation bodies are heading this race. It's expected, but also conformity bodies are present in big numbers today. We're very happy to see that we have users with us and also a number of regulators. Government is present also in very good numbers, and standardization bodies, they are in the third place after accreditation bodies and conformity assessment bodies, which is amazing really, that to see all these stakeholders being with us today. All the categories are here. We will wait for all of you to put your input hopefully, and maybe I can keep the poll working and we can have a presentation from Mrs. Heidi. This is a very interesting presentation and a speech. Mrs. Heidi is presenting to us a result of a report that was conducted by the Swedish board, and it's really interesting to see how regulations now are working, what kind of findings they found, especially when thinking, should we regulate AI, should we regulate the technologies, should we include to the already complicated regulations and supply chains requirements for the digitalization and the digital transformation requirements. So let's listen to Mrs. Heidi, very interesting speech and report, and after that we can have an information and discussion about it. So please, I will leave the poll on, and then let's listen to Mrs. Heidi.
Greetings from Stockholm and the National Board of Trade Sweden. My name is Heidi Lund, and I would like to start by thanking ILAC for the kind invitation and opportunity to contribute at this important event. I naturally wish you all a nice and compliant World Accreditation Day. My intervention today will be based on a recent analysis focusing on digital regulation. In February, the National Board of Trade Sweden published a report on innovation, AI, technical regulation and trade. So what is this analysis about? Well, the objective of the analysis is to highlight in which manner the utilization of technologies and innovations such as AI on one hand and digital vulnerabilities, especially cyber vulnerabilities on the other, affect the properties of industrial goods and how this should be considered in technical regulation. In other words, the analysis answers the question whether digital innovation changes the way in which we should regulate industrial goods. So why did the National Board of Trade Sweden prepare this analysis? Well, our earlier study from 2018, focusing on the trade effects of cybersecurity regulation, indicated that regulation of digital product properties presents many uncertainties with respect of really reaching the set regulatory objectives. Also, our findings show that efficient regulatory policy making becomes burdensome when different policy areas such as national security and trade policy do not speak the same language. So is this then an important question for trade policy? Well, if regulations are not adapted to technical innovation, companies will face uncertainty. And there is also a risk for regulatory fragmentation and barriers if different markets regulate digital properties in different manners. As a result, we saw that there is really a need to investigate whether there are relevant digital frameworks for digital innovations such as AI. Those of you who know the analysis of National Board of Trade might wonder, why didn't you just prepare an analysis of digital trade barriers? Well, that would really require that clear regulatory frameworks, and unfortunately we are not there yet. Furthermore, like the analysis will demonstrate, the conditions for digital regulations are different from what we are used to. So what is then so special about products with embedded digital technologies that we really have to question our current regulatory model and technique? Well, in contrast to traditional goods, the properties of digital products change throughout their life cycles, making both regulation and standardization more difficult. Digital products are also less tangible than traditional products, which means that product properties are difficult to follow and control, both for companies themselves and for regulators. And as I mentioned, regulations and standards are still under development. One of the study's underlying question is there anyone who has really insight in and is taking responsibility of the digital market? If neither regulations nor market surveillance are in place, one can ask whether the digital market is left to the invisible hand, probably to the self-regulation of companies combined with some, but not all, embracing regulation. So how did we at the board approach the question? Well, instead of analyzing various digital regulatory frameworks and proposals, we used a bottom-up approach. We investigated how AI is used in industry and how business see that their innovation is covered by legislation. Also, how the cyber dimension affects compliance. For the case studies, we selected sectors where the utilization of machine learning and AI has come far and where cyber vulnerabilities and threats are really an issue. As this kind of analysis requires competence in many specific fields where we at the board don't have it ourselves, it was really important to engage experts in fields such as cybersecurity, software development, with more. Also, we were really happy to have Swedish regulatory bodies from each sector with us for quality assurance. And then to our main findings. Not surprisingly, we may conclude that digital innovation is really boosting trade. It's very true that machine learning and AI provide business with immense possibilities to develop new user cases, and also the unique opportunity to improve product properties all along throughout the product lifecycle. However, digital technologies may radically challenge our traditional trade policy frameworks. For example, the World Trade Organization TBT agreement asks regulators to base their regulation as far as possible on international standards and systems for conformity assessment. And for those companies that apply AI might not have or even want to use international standards, and or the certification systems that are to be used might be regional and not international. We can also say that the regulatory landscape has changed. Digital innovation really increases regulatory complexity. In the report, we compare the digital regulatory landscape in EU with a bowl of spaghetti, implying that even for regulatory professionals, it's currently extremely difficult to figure out where one regulation starts and where another takes over. It is very important for us to highlight that the purpose of this analysis was not to look for vulnerabilities and risk links to AI. However, our findings and results confirm that the use of digital product intelligence really broadens the regulatory concerns for industrial goods. By this I mean that regulatory compliance of today is not only about product safety, it's about cybersecurity, resilience and privacy. And this is a real huge change from the past. What is most notable here in context is that the ability to really control and monitor changes in the properties of digital goods has been significantly weakened. It's also clear for us that policymakers still base their regulatory proposals on a sector, while the innovation and its areas of use are limitless. We can also say that the complex supply chains are not sufficiently considered in technical regulation, and thus the ability to build security into the product from the start has really weakened. In terms of regulatory gaps and gray zones, the study was able to identify several cases of overlapping and conflicting regulations. It can also be confirmed that a good definition on AI is still not available. Also, that horizontal digital regulations are not necessarily adapted to sector-specific user cases. Further, the analysis shows that the access to and control of data represent important challenges for companies that apply AI. And another issue that we looked into, but not in a detail, but that we still want to highlight to decision maker, is that there is a risk that regulatory parameters regarding product safety, cybersecurity, integrity and resilience are blurred when risks are defined in regulation. All these regulatory concerns can naturally affect a part of digital product. However, these are currently addressed in a multitude of approaches and various regulatory proposals, but not necessarily in a coordinated manner nor with clarity. As mentioned before, extensive and complex supply chains are a main challenge affecting traceability and auditability of digital products. Still, a multitude of proposals for new digital legal frameworks introduce complex producer responsibilities that cover the whole value chain and that are more or less impossible for companies themselves to verify. I think also that this, in a not too distant future, will become a real headache for market surveillance bodies. Here I really see that the conformity assessment community, as well as organizations responsible for legal metrology, could have a decisive role in creating better understanding of regulatory needs, as well as finding new toolboxes to support digital regulation. Before I finish, I would like to present some of our policy recommendations. First on our wish list is that decision makers could be a little bit more patient when it comes to digital regulation, both to address security and to address trade. There is a need to invest in more major regulation, above all by creating better understanding among policymakers of the technologies used and their impact, also by analyzing the interrelations of various fields and by increased coordination. Furthermore, I think it's really a need to start thinking about regulatory impact assessment across sectors and issues, especially since a large part of digital innovation is really difficult to control. More focus is needed on the life cycle perspective in regulation as the characteristics of digital product change over time. We feel that regulators must find new ways to get better insight in the digital product properties by improved methods, what we call in the report by continuous compliance. Many persons have asked me if this recommendations really implies more control by market surveillance of bodies throughout the product life cycle. No, this is not what we say and argue. We only wish to highlight that digital innovation poses challenges with respect to compliance and that the current regulatory tools and practices may not address in a clear and verifiable manner. Naturally here, new capabilities are needed in form of methods for traceability, auditability, verification in market surveillance and enforcement of product safety and security. This of course requires more resources. By these remarks and the short intervention, I really thank you for your interest and looking forward with my colleagues in Sweden to continue a dialogue in the area. I hope also that I have been able to increase your curiosity for the topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Heidi. I think this was a very interesting report and also very interesting recommendations and conclusions of the report. I think it's very important for us to see how we're going to work in this regulatory framework and landscape that is being changing, and also fast pace is being used now for these changes, and we have to be also up to date. She mentioned that there's a lot of regulations that exist. Some of them they can overlap, and some of them can be conflicting between each others. And the digitalization brings more complexity to such regulations, especially that the traceability of digital products is more difficult than the normal products. That the new considerations have to be taken. So that when seeing what are the requirements from the data security, the access to data, and how to manage data is also very important. But also the advice from this is that we should be patient as regulator. They have to be patient and wait for regulations to be more mature, for the technologies to be more mature before regulating them and putting them in place. She mentioned there's still no unofficial definition of AI. So I think this is very important that this analysis from the Swedish Board of Trade raises an important question about the need for relevant frameworks on the era of digital innovation. It's clear that adapting regulations to the technical advancements is vital for companies to thrive and avoid uncertainties and fragmentation. And on that, we need to have also a cooperation between the different parties and stakeholders, accreditation, conformity assessment, regulators, governments, standardization bodies, etc. And I see that some of the questions that we just received, and we answered one of them. Where can we find examples of how to make reference? So we have one anonymous attendee who asked about a reference, and we have the public sector assurance website gives a lot of examples around the world how MLA and MRA are used for regulations and also for acceptance of products and facilitation of trade. Certainly, we look forward to have more of that use and to avoid any protectionism in different economies, as we have discussed also on the session of this morning. And hopefully, if you have more examples and you would like to send to us examples that we can add in the public sector assurance website, please don't hesitate to send us and contact us to give you the possibility to share your information. I would like Veronica to share the results of the poll. And we have very good participation. 90% of member participants, they have filled the poll, and we see that obviously we have a very good number of accreditation bodies in the first place. 44% are accreditation body members celebrating the World Accreditation Day. But it's very amazing to see that also conformity assessment bodies, 32% also, they are celebrating in big numbers with us today. We see users of conformity assessment services with us today, regulators and also governments are with us today. Very welcome to them. We have scheme owners, very active scheme owners we have around the world and working with ILAC and AF, and also our big support standardization bodies around the world that are helping us, and also the quality infrastructure at the national, regional, international level, and also a number of experts and independent persons and others that participating with us. Thank you very much for everyone to be with us today, and it's a big pleasure to have you with us today. We see that we have some questions in the chat. We'll try to answer those, and maybe we can go to the video, the official video, Veronica, right?
Yes, we want to present the official video of this year. You can find it in our YouTube channel for ILAC and IAF. So go ahead if you need more information about accreditation. You can find a lot of material in our website and also in our social media. So Brahim, I guess that it's time to put our official video for this year.
Okay, let's go. The global economy has long relied on standards, regulations, metrology, and accredited conformity assessment services to support trade. This is by ensuring that consumers, businesses, and regulators procuring these goods and services get what they expect.
In our changing world, challenges and considerations, ranging from the increasing complexity of supply chains to cybersecurity, emerging technologies and growing consumers' consciousness about sustainability are requiring industry to adapt.
Accreditation is essential for meeting changing industry requirements and supporting sustainable development goals. World Accreditation Day 2023 will demonstrate how national and global quality infrastructure are adapting to advances in technologies, consumer behaviors, and business models.
Product integrity is under greater security than ever before. The risk of exposure for brand owner is increasing for many reasons. This includes increasing complexity of supply chain and regulatory diversity, geographic factors disrupting the sourcing of raw materials, new concerns related to cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, data protection, fraud of end products authentically, and consumer consequences about the sustainability. Additional transparency enabled by technology and communication networking in transforming the way trust won and lost.
Standards metrology and accreditation form the basis for global trade by reducing transaction costs and creating universal reference points. They act as a trust indicator, allowing goods and services to move between economies without requiring additional testing, inspection, certification, validation, or verification in the importing economy. They are also increasingly used across a wide range of policy areas to support regulation, including technical product safety, good governance, climate change, energy, fair markets, and public confidence. Organizations like the World Trade Organization, UNIDO, and the OECD suggest that greater implementation of international standards in national frameworks and compliance with them will promote regulatory conformity worldwide. The usage of the standard is on the rise, with a 20% increase, totaling 1,725,754 businesses having accredited certification to management system standard in 2021 when compared to the previous year. Furthermore, the number of accredited laboratory and inspection bodies rose to 88,600 and 14,000 respectively in 2022.
The COVID-19 pandemic has presented new risks and challenges in global supply chains, forcing businesses to be more resilient and agile as they face labour and/or raw material shortages, inflationary pressures, and shifts in their supply chains. The pandemic also led to an increased use of remote auditing and assessment techniques within the conformity assessment community. A survey by ISO, ILAC, and IF showed that 91.5% of respondents agreed that remote techniques could provide a stimulus to new audit, assessment, and evaluation processes. The use of sensors, data feeds, artificial intelligence, and many other factors will see auditing evolve and develop further towards what is called smart quality infrastructure.
The adoption of new technologies is increasing, with digitalization having raised global GDP by almost 10% in the past decade. However, we see new threats and challenges for example, like cybercrime, counterfeiting, that have increased exponentially, costing the global economy more than $1 trillion in 2021. The emergence of artificial intelligence, AI, and blockchain has seen the development of multiple standards and new protocols. But the regulatory uncertainty and the lack of trust and confidence from the users are the biggest barriers to adoption. Governments and organizations around the world are starting to explore these technologies, and accreditation and accredited conformity assessment activities are already delivering confidence in different goods and services around the world that use these technologies, blockchain and AI and others. For example, we have the standard, the 27001, the ISO IEC 27001, which identifies and manages risks for the businesses that use data that is stored electronically.
Consumers are increasingly concerned about the origins and sustainability of their purchases, and assurance schemes have sprung up to counter these concerns. However, it's become increasingly apparent that these schemes underperform. Standards can help organizations adopt more eco-friendly practices. Accredited conformity assessment can provide assurance that organizations are meeting requirements and fulfilling claims, from the laboratory testing of air, water, and soil pollution, to the inspection of ship recycling, to ISO 14001 environmental management system certifications that requires that an organization consider all environmental issues relevant to operations, including pollution, climate change, mitigation and adaptation, and resource use and efficiency. In many parts of the world, certification schemes ensure that manufactured products are protected by their geographic region, thereby providing consumers with confidence in the origin and quality of their purchases. Ethical trading and responsible sourcing certification gives consumers the reassurance that they seek and the workers the protection that they deserve.
Transparency enabled by technology and communications networks is transforming the way trust is won and lost. The increasing number of assurance schemes to address areas such as environmental, social, and governance performance is causing confusion, accusations of greenwashing, and differences between stakeholder expectations and realities. While accredited conformity assessment provides a clear indication of trust, the conformity assessment industry continues to take steps to evolve in line with industry needs. For example, IAF Search is a global database of accredited management system certifications, providing a single source of truth that makes it harder for those issuing fraudulent certificates. Accredited conformity assessment is also being deployed to ensure the integrity of peer review systems, such as online ratings.
While standards and accreditation have had a positive impact on trade, both within and across borders, there is a need for continued evolution to meet changing industry requirements and to support our future trading systems.
Under the umbrella of ILAC and IAF, accreditation is supporting national and global quality infrastructure in adapting to advances in technology, changes in consumer behavior and regulatory environment, new trust mechanism, and changing business model.
I hope everyone you have enjoyed the World Accreditation Day video. You can review it again on the IAF and ILAC YouTube channel. You have also links in IAF and ILAC websites, iaf.nu and ilac.org. You can go there and find all the materials related to the World Accreditation Day. We have a nice brochure that have details, examples of the use of accreditation around the world. I see that there's a lot of questions about this, Veronica, in the chat about how to use, how to find examples. And I think I'll just take some few minutes to show members that we have a website called Public Sector Assurance, where you can go here and search different case studies around the world that were shared by different members. You can also search per scheme and per subject, but also you can search by country, standard, sustainable development. I see there's one question that says, can you put also the MLA, MRA? We'll see how we can link the different standards also with the different scopes that we have in ILAC and AF. But if you go, for example, and search for the word MLA, you'll find the different articles that refer to MLA, which countries, for example, they have used MLA, like West Africa here, Sri Lanka, other countries we can find, and then you can see how these examples, they have used the MLA and MRA as reference for their use of accreditation and their regulations. Also, you can choose some specific examples. If you click on trade, you'll have case studies, researches that have been done in this field, and also supporting material that you can use in your trainings or your presentations. You can find on the website. Also, you can see specific examples. For example, here we have digital certification being one of the examples that were proven. We will see there, for example, for these certifications, you can see which country, you can see which standards are covered, also which SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, that case study relates to, and we hope that this will be very helpful for you and helps you to have a better information to your regulators and your the parties related to you. So Veronica also did put for you the link in the chat, so please go ahead and check the website, and hopefully it will be of good information. But also, please encourage your representatives, and if you have case studies you want to send to us and include in the website, you're always welcome to submit your case studies. With this, Veronica, I think that we arrive to the end of our celebration today. I would like to thank everyone who has been with us today for this event from different stakeholders, as we have seen in the poll. And also thank you all for coming from all the corners of the world, and your presence and engagement. They have made this celebration truly special for us.
Yes, indeed, Rahim. Thank you very much for our speakers. We know about accreditation and global trade now with more information. Thank you very much for your time and your compromise to be with us today. And also thank you to all the participants to be here with us. We really highlight the essential role of accreditation in ensuring the confidence, trust, and quality in our interconnected world. So thank you very much to be here.
We would like to consider this event as a celebration, but also a start of discussion on how to use digitalization and the new technologies and digital transformation in the future of global trade using accreditation and mutual recognition agreement and arrangements. And hopefully this has inspired you to further champion the accreditation and the impact of accreditation on commerce and international trade. And together we can shape the future where accredited conformity assessment plays a pivotal role in driving economic growth and safeguarding consumer safety, and also fostering the sustainable development.
Yes, thank you once again for being part of this celebration of our World Accreditation Day 2023. Let us carry the spirit of this event forward and continue working towards a future where accreditation continues to support and shape the global trade landscape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. And with this, we're going to close the event for today. And for everyone, happy World Accreditation Day. And please continue celebrating and working with this team until next year. And till that time, until the next event, thank you and take care.
See you. Bye.